Hello guys, in the previous episode we talked about variables, but today we are going to look at something interesting. We are going to see data types. What are data types in Java? Yeah, in the previous video we looked at some of the data types that Java has, but today we are going to dive more deeper. Uh, so I'll first delete this, even this. Today we are looking at data types. Data types. So one of the advantages of data types in Java is that data types tell a computer what kind of information it wants to use or store. It can use the so that the computer can use the right containers to store the data. So data types are divided into two. Here we have what we call the primitives. We have what we call the primitives, primitives, and we have the non-primitive data types. Non-primitive. We have the primitive and the non-primitive. So what are the primitives? Primitives, these are just the basic data types that we use in Java. Or these are inbuilt data types that we find in Java. We saw some of them in the previous videos. We have what we call the integers, which is int. We have what we call the float. These ones are decimal numbers. The integers are whole numbers. We have what we call the characters, which is in short form called, and refer it as char. We have what we call the booleans. They are these ones. They return true or false. Booleans. We have what we call the booleans. Here, put this here. So, what are integers? Integers are simply part of the primitive data types. Integers are simply whole numbers. The 1, the 2, the 3, just whole numbers, like plain numbers. What are floats? Floats are just here. Forgot something. Okay, floats are just like decimal numbers. When you say 10.9, this is a decimal number. When you say like 100.9, this is a decimal number. It is having decimal separated with a full stop. Whole numbers are simply just numbers without decimals. 100, 10, 90. Those ones are just what? Plain numbers. They don't have integers, are just plain numbers. They don't have the decimal points. We have what we call the characters. Now, characters, they take only one character, meaning you can have a hash, that one, at, you can have a star, you can have letters, simply one character, not more than one character. You can have numbers, you can have each and every unique character you know are represented by what? The char. So we go to booleans. Now here booleans, they return true or false. Yeah, they return true or false. Just to explain this, I can explain this by a switch, a light switch. It is either on or off. It can't be both. So the booleans, they return true or false. You can't have another value here. And these ones, they are behind the saying that computers think. Yeah, computers, you can make a program. Let me say you are either going to the market or you are not. You can't do both. You are either staying or you are going. Yeah. So those are the booleans. But here in integers, integers are more divided into two more parts. First, let me say you want to store like small characters. Let me say you have limited characters. Here, you use something like the short. Now, simply a short stores less characters. A short stores. Let me call this. Short stores only 16 bits, only stores 16 bits. In this video, I'm going to use bits, not bytes, because bits are the smallest. Now, to get how many bytes are in the 16 bits, you just come and say, because 1 byte is equal to 16 what? Is equal to 8 bytes. So for you to get how many bytes are in the, how many bits are in the, how can you convert the bits into the bytes? You just say 16 divided by what? Divide by 8 to get the bytes, the bytes, yeah. So in the short only takes 16 bits, meaning here it will carry numbers from negative 32, 7, 6, 8 to 32, from negative, 2, 7, 6, 8. The characters that are that we can use for the short. Now that's the short. If you want to use, let me say, we have other types found in integers. Here we are dealing with whole numbers. We have the integers. We have another that we can use. You can use, if you want to use like a very long number, not short numbers, like long numbers. Here you can use something like long. Yeah, long is also a data type, which will take more characters more than this. Meaning the short will take numbers from negative to, from negative 300, from negative 3,200 to positive 3,270 plus characters. Meaning this one, the long will take, just write this here, the long will take 64 bits. Yeah, this will hold more characters more than this. This will be long can take more characters. Long can take over huge numbers. Meaning I can use any huge number that I have for my long. It is not specified how many characters it can take for the long. So I also have the here up. This is long. Here, this is for the long. These are the bits it takes. I said if you want to change this, you can to bytes. Just come, because one bit is equal to 8 bytes. So you can also convert this and you get the actual bytes that are found in the bits that long and short have. So we have another here in the short. Here we are dealing with long numbers, but we also have the byte itself, the one I've been talking about. As I was saying, the byte takes in 8 bits. Yeah, and takes in, let me say here, negative 128 to 127 characters, meaning you can't have more than these numbers while using the byte data type or the primitive data type called byte. But here they are all in whole numbers. Yeah. So let us see the float. How float is also divided. Float is also divided into two. We have what we call the double. Now here, and we also have the float itself. Float. Now the difference, these are the small numbers. These here we are dealing with whole numbers, but these are decimal numbers. By decimal numbers, as I told you, they are numbers with decimal point, 10.9. Any number, name it. The number with the decimal point, we call them float numbers, or they are represented by the float or double primitive data types. They are under primitive data types. Now, the difference between float, the difference between double and float is that double takes in huge characters more than float. This takes in huge characters or huge decimal numbers more than float. Float takes in 64 bits, and double takes in over we can duplicate this. Double takes in over 3, like it takes over 10k decimal points. If you are dealing with a huge number that you know it is going to have large decimal numbers, you can use double instead of float, because float is the opposite. It takes in limited numbers, limited decimal points. Float takes in 32 bits, and they are so limited with over 2 characters, 2 decimal points, meaning here you can have something like 3.2, only 2 decimal points for the float. If you are dealing with floats, you can have more than 2, but basically float takes in less decimal points than double. So when you use double, Java will know that, hey, we are going to deal with high decimal numbers, so I prefer using double more than float. So here I forgot something. Even integers here, go talking about them. Even integers, they take in 32 bytes, just like the float. Bits, not bytes, sorry. With over negative, they start from negative 2 billion over 2 billion, positive 2 billion, meaning a range from characters from negative 2 billion to positive 2 billion. Here in between, you use like integers. Yeah, integers are short-termed as int in programming or in Java. So what are non-primitives? Non-primitives are, in this video, we are not going to look at the non-primitive. They will be in the next videos. And just these are custom made. These are just custom made data types. They are not inbuilt, but they are custom made. Yeah, they store numbers in huge characters. Yeah, whereby you have the arrays, the objects, among others. But today we are going to focus mainly on primitive data types. So let us see them in the programming world, the primitives. So here, last time, as integers, you just come, you declare your integer, give it a variable name, you store you assign your variable name anything. So let me say you're using like long. I'll say long, give it like my variable name code, my long. This, let me say like 500, then terminate. Then I'll say system dot out dot print ln system dot out dot print. Here, what am I printing? Long. Then I terminate. See, long can take more characters more than the integers. Last time we looked at the integers, whereby we assign some values using the integer data type. But this time we are going to look at how we can use other data types. So here I can first compile Java-C, compile my enter. After compiling, I run the file. You can see my output is 500, meaning my number 5,000 has been facilitated by what? By the long data type. Here you can use something like short. Remember the short? My short, give it a variable name is equal to. Remember the short, how many characters does short take? Remember what we talked about short? 32,002, negative 32,002, positive 32,768. So meaning here, my short cannot have more than those characters. Meaning here, I'll be in the range of negative 32,000 to positive 32,000. Here I'll say like, when I use this, will this work? Remember the range. When I try to compare this, you'll see. Meaning you should be careful assigning data types that you should be sure the data types you are using. You can see even incompatible types, int cannot be converted to short. This is an int, but you are trying to convert it to short. But if I list this and I say like 80, run this here, Then come here, compile, then run. You'll see that it has finally accepted because I have used a number between its range. So let me say I'm going to use characters. Characters, I will say like char is equal to my character is equal to. So by characters, I mean by characters you use these symbols, not the double quotes, but use these not this won't work if you use the double quotes. And I say like, okay, this won't work because this is a character. By characters, use not the double but the single quotes here. These ones. Now these ones will work. And remember what I talked about characters. Characters take single. We take single characters. You can't have multiple characters here. It can't accept. It has to be single. Either number, either special character, and name it. But it can't be more than what? More than one. It has to be single. Meaning here, can use this. And here, can print my variable. Compile this. Compile. Then run. You can see that my character has been printed out. So we looked at the decimal numbers whereby we used something like double. We saw double, use double, but double can take multiple decimal numbers. Give this a variable, say double is equal to. Here you can use multiple decimal numbers. I can print out this. Save, compile. Compile, then run. You can see that we have successfully printed out the decimal number. Here, that's how you use the double. For the float, say float, my float, give this a variable name is equal to, let me say, a table point. If you use like more characters on the float that are not in the range between the float numbers that are wanted by float, there you will be, it won't accept. So you have to be in the range of the float. But remember here, here I specified that I'm going to use decimal what? I'm going to have a decimal output here. But here I use double. But while dealing with float, you have to tell Java that I'm dealing with float, not double, I'm dealing with float. So you have to add here F behind. Yeah, you can see. So I can count this, output this. Here I was saying that you cannot put multiple in the range, multiple values. It has to be in the range of the 32 bits that is wanted by the float. Me, I prefer using double because double accepts multiple decimal numbers. So here I can come here, compile, then run. You can see that my float is outputting something. So those are some of the data types that we saw. The long, we have seen the long, we have seen the short. Oh, we have to see even the byte. Byte can be here up, down here. So I can set byte. Remember my byte. Yeah. These are just like variables. You can name this anything that you want. Remember, these are between negative 128 to positive 128, meaning I have to be in the range in between there. Here you can't use like, by using bytes, you can't use like 300 or 3000. It won't work. You have to be in the range. So these two, you are simply dealing with small numbers and whole numbers. Yeah. So let me compile this. You see, compile, then run. You can see that my output, this one, I have successfully printed out a byte.
So lastly, I can talk about the booleans. The booleans can give this a variable name is boolean. This only takes true or false. You can't have other characters in here. It is either true or false, nothing else. Either true or false. Like I explained earlier, can basic example I can use is a switch. It's either on or off. It can't be both. So print out boolean is boolean. So let me come and compile this and compile, then run. You can see that my boolean is true. So you can change this to false, compile, then run, then run. You can see that my boolean is returning false. So that's simply those are simply booleans. They are either true or false. They can't be both, or they can't be other characters. Either true or false. Yeah.
So that's basically how you can deal with primitive data types. We shall see non-primitive in the coming videos. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.